Welcome back to TV 48 Update. I'm your host, Catherine Pugh. I'm here with Dr. Gregory Ellis. We're talking about the carb scam. And it is a carb scam because people are really confused as to what they should be putting into their bodies. And you were explaining to us that carbohydrates are not something that you really want to put into your body because they are what becomes the fat that sticks to your body. Whereas, as you pointed out, there are fats that you can eat that help to burn, which is what your body wants.
Right.
Because that's what burns the fuel that keeps you going.
The fat is the source of fuel.
That is the source of your fuel.
You process.
And in many cases, that's your meat. And I'm a vegetarian, but I do eat. I eat salmon and I eat, fish and that kind of stuff. So, I mean, what about for the vegetarians? What should they be eating?
Well, the vegetarian thing is a choice. It's a lifestyle. Mm-hmm. It's a belief system.
Mm-hmm. But is it good, bad?
It's not good in my view at all because I did it for 3 years, almost ruined me. But it doesn't adhere to the rules of the body. And by definition, a vegetarian diet is generally going to be very high in carbohydrates. Okay. Now you're obviously not fat, so the high carb diet's not making you fat.
But I don't eat a lot of. I'm not a high carb person.
You have to be if you're a vegetarian.
Well, I eat salmon.
Okay.
I do a lot of tofu. I do a lot of lentils. Some salads.
We'd have to sit down and analyze everything. Exactly, but generally vegetarian diets are high in carb.
Okay,
but you said you're a runner.
Yes.
All right. There's no question that the obesity epidemic is primarily the result of physical inactivity.
Okay.
Having little or nothing to do with diet at all.
Okay.
We're just too inactive. So that's the number one thing that people should do. They've got to become more active.
Got to get up. Got to get up. Got to do something.
And you could walk. You could do whatever. And you got to do enough of it.
Right. Because I've heard somebody said to me one time, well, I get out. I run 1 mile a day. I said, yep, but if you're doing 1 mile and it takes you 10 minutes, the body hasn't even gotten into.
It's nothing.
Right. It's got to be 20, 30 minutes at least.
Well, at least. I don't think you can be. The research on this shows that you have to do at least just about an hour. If you want to maintain your normal body weight, you have to do at least an hour a day.
An hour a day?
Yes.
At least
a fairly vigorous pace, like walking a couple miles an hour.
Right. And not having that conversation with your friend while you're walking.
Well, you could at that pace.
Be walking fast.
But you don't have to run, but you have to move and you have to burn some calories. But you need that kind of time threshold.
Okay.
All right? And we're not doing it.
Right. And we're not doing it.
And the reason for this is everybody's trying to get off easy. Nobody wants to put anything into it. And the marketers control the whole thing, right? Abs in 6 minutes.
Oh, God, yes.
It's not going to happen.
Ab rollers.
The whole deal.
Stair steppers, whatever.
So the marketers, both at the exercise level and at the food level, are confusing the public. And they've got the budgets to do it. So that's why the public is so befuddled. And then the people who are writing these books don't know anything either. So there's no chance of them becoming unconfused.
What I've got to ask you this. What made you say, what, I can do something about this? I need to write something. I need to tell some folks that...
I was an obese child. I became obese when I was 12. Suffered all kinds of skin problems. So I started learning this subject. And like everyone else, I started doing what people were writing about. And I'd find out whether it worked or not. So, well, that didn't work. I wonder what does work. Then I realized the people in the gyms that I was going to didn't know much. So I said, well, I'll go to graduate school. They must know all the answers there. And I discovered they didn't know anything either. But I learned all my basics. I learned my physiology, my biochemistry, and I just kept pursuing it doggedly, nonstop, until I finally put all the pieces of the puzzle together. Then, and people said, well, gee, Greg, you didn't write a book till you were 55. Why'd you wait so long? I didn't know it till I was 55.
Which was the first one?
Actually, the first one was a giant book called Ultimate Diet Secrets.
Okay.
It was 600 pages, 8.5 by 11. And people were going, oh, it's so big. So I said, I'll make an abridged version and just keep the core stuff in there.
Okay.
So that's really that is the book that describes the whole process by which one would control their body weight.
Okay.
It offers you a menu of strategies to choose from. So you can go after your weight control problem. It's got diet, it's got exercise, it's got all the other things you need to know. All the things that happen to your body as it loses weight. For example, as you lose weight, your metabolism drops a little bit. And you got the calories you were eating at the higher weight no longer work. So you got to cut your calories more or exercise more if you want to keep pushing it. That's why so many people hit the wall. And that's the thing that always happens on the Atkins diet. People say, well, gee, I lost 20 pounds or 5 pounds or 10 pounds. and then I hit a wall.
Right, and I can't lose
I can't lose any more. That's because Atkins said carbohydrates control. They do not control. Calories control. And he was vehement about that. He only changed his tune a little bit at the end of his life, not enough to unconfuse people.
Right.
Now the new people at Atkins have joined in the good carb, bad carb movement. And there's some evidence to suggest that they started this whole net carb thing. So what they're saying to you is some carbs don't count. All right, they don't count, so don't count them. So let's say you have a food bar with, on the back of the label that the FDA requires says 25 grams of carb. Well, the front of the package might say 2 grams of net carbs. So they just discount 23 grams of carb as if it doesn't exist.
Wow.
Now, because the public is still so confused on the importance of calories, because even in South Beach, the guy says you don't have to worry about calories. And they're all saying you don't have to worry about calories. So they're not paying attention to calories. They didn't pay attention to it on low fat. They're not paying attention to it now on low carb, particularly with guys telling you you don't have to count the carbs.
So the bar that says only 2 carbs may
in fact have 25.
Wow.
So now if you want to go on a low carb diet, and a good low carb diet, you'd consume, say, 80 grams of carb a day. If you do it on net carbs, you're probably going to end up consuming 250 to 300 grams of carb, which is going to blow the whole thing out.
Okay, when we come back, you got to unconfuse us some more. Stay with us. We're talking with Dr. Ellis. He's trying to help us understand how we really get our bodies in shape and deal with this whole no carb, low carb. We'll be back.